EU's Values and Transparency Commissioner Věra Jourová warned against Russia, Russian disinformation, Hungary, AfD, and common sense in a recent interview. She made a complete fool of herself, and we will tell you all about it. But before that, if you're a fan of non-corporate funded free news and analysis, you have landed on the right YouTube channel. We publish 3 videos a day. First at 9:15 a.m. EST, second at 1:30 p.m. EST, and the third at 5:30 p.m. EST. So next time the YouTube algorithm accuses you of being a Russian proxy, tell it that being bitter won't make it smarter. Okay, let's begin. Democracy within the European Union is facing threats from Russian proxies, according to certified elite and Values and Transparency Commissioner Věra Jourová. In an effort to combat this challenge, Jourová has announced her plans to undertake a democracy tour across EU capitals. Her initiative aims to bolster actions against the spread of Russian disinformation and address concerns regarding Moscow's influence through what she terms as quote-unquote domestic proxies. In a recent interview, Jourová highlighted the involvement of several European populist right-wing parties in disseminating Russian propaganda. She accused these parties of functioning within the Kremlin's disinformation network, thereby misleading their followers. Specifically, Jourová expressed significant worry about the German party Alternative for Deutschland, or AfD, identifying it as a major concern due to its alleged role in spreading Russian narratives. The AfD has attracted attention from the EU's leadership, especially as its popularity surges, positioning it as a formidable contender in the political landscape. Jourová fears that AfD's success could lead to Germany and by extension the EU altering its support for Ukraine, which could have profound implications for the bloc's unity and security. The AfD has criticized the EU's current approach to the Ukraine crisis, which includes continuous arms deliveries and sanctions deemed ineffective by the party. Advocating for a ceasefire, the AfD argues for a strategy that avoids further loss of life and economic burden. What a right-wing radical nut. A study by the European Council on Foreign Relations, ECFR, reveals that 41% of Europeans favor urging Ukraine to engage in negotiations as opposed to the 31% advocating for ongoing EU support. This perspective, however, seems at odds with Commissioner Věra Jourová's implications that such views might echo Russian influence. If her words are indeed true, most Europeans are, well, Russian agents. Jourová, embarking on a democracy tour to address these issues, will start her journey in Helsinki, followed by a visit to Rome and plans to cover several EU capitals before the June elections. Her tour aims to underscore the importance of unity and vigilance against disinformation. Interestingly, Germany, significant due to the influence of AfD, is scheduled as one of her final stops. Věra Jourová views a vote for the AfD not merely as a support for Putin, but also a stance against democracy, suggesting that such democratic choices could paradoxically harm democracy itself. My democracy is better than your democracy. The commissioner emphasizes that the AfD's perspective is part of a broader issue, indicating Russia's tailored strategies to influence each EU member state. While many parties consider problematic by Jourová are in opposition, she highlights that Slovakia's Smer ST under Prime Minister Robert Fico and Hungary's Fidesz, led by Prime Minister Viktor Orban, are disseminating quote-unquote Russian narratives from within their governments. Commissioner Věra Jourová points out that the challenge of disinformation extends beyond politicians to alternative media outlets, which are increasingly rivaling traditional media channels previously considered resistant to Russian influence. See, we aren't getting enough views, otherwise she might have mentioned TFIGlobal directly and explicitly. Poor luck. She highlighted a particularly potent Russian narrative propagated by alternative media, encapsulated in the simple message of desiring peace, because of course, desiring for peace is propaganda. While the call for peace resonates universally, Jourova warns against interpreting it as a call for appeasement or a reason to seize support for Ukraine as intended by the Kremlin. Despite the European Commission's stance, the pro-peace factions on the right present their arguments for peace, underscoring a divergence of perspectives within the EU on how to address conflict and disinformation. Jourova is probably overworked and possibly sleep-deprived, peace-deprived, and deprived of other important pleasures in life. Unlike her boss, the human raisin, Ursula von der Leyen, who recently gave a shocking verdict on Ukraine. Want to know what she said? Here is a video.